Very much like the European marketplace, there is a lot of hustling and bustling going on right behind me as the crowds are gathering to attend the Quality Roundtable here at Intersolar Munich. One of the reasons the European marketplace is going really hot right now is because of the advent of subsidy-free solar plants with the use of PPAs, power purchase agreements. And these can actually become really, really important for quality, as we will find out just any minute now. The event will start. Let's hear what the experts have to say. Lucy Garot-Il is the technical manager for the EMEA region for DuPont. Lucy, bifacial modules are becoming more and more popular, and with that, obviously, glass modules. But as you showed on stage, there are some risks associated with that. Can you talk me through some of these?
Yeah, some of the risk, glass breakage is a known risk. We also see some field examples of poor aging of the materials in glass panels. So, for example, corrosion is also a distinct risk. And this is in older panels, 10 or 15 years old, sometimes older even. Those problems have to be taken in the context of then. Now we have different potential for risk because the cells have evolved, the EVA has evolved, and we're talking about bifacial. So added risk means we need to do more testing.
And are there any testing standards with which we can see how good certain backside materials work?
There are some standards. There's the IEC standard. The IEC standard is not good enough to really take out the materials that are not good for the field. So what we have done is we have devised accelerated test sequences that will mimic or replicate the defects we see in the field. Those test sequences will alternate damp heat, UV and thermal cycle in several cycles so that we can see exactly the same defect as we have seen in the field.
Paul Gruner is the CEO of PI Berlin. Paul, can you talk me through some of the risks that are truly associated with glass modules or glass backsheet modules as the discussion has been going on at this Quality Roundtable?
Yeah, first of all, we're talking about a technology that is mature, and the risk that modules fails are in the percentage range and below. And up to now it was not proven that we can differentiate between glass and glass backsheet modules. But most people think that glass is better, and I'm open to see new results from the DuPont material. So it's not that I'm just judging it now.
And what about costs, which is always the big question in the PV industry? What type of costs are associated with either technology?
I mean, for the manufacturer, it's more cumbersome to produce glass, but that is more a discipline thing. DuPont just stated today that the square meter price is slightly higher, what is clear because they have just to prevent UV problems, and on the other hand need 100% transmittivity as glass service up to now.
And apart from issues with modules due to the backside material, there are of course more quality traps lingering in the PV industry, and some of them are hiding underground. Cables and connectors are continuing to be a pain for the PV industry if certain quality standards are not followed. Eric Ast is the head of global business development of Stäubli. What should project developers look out for to avoid any issues with humidity or with arcing or with insulation problems? What do you advise them?
So first of all, when you select components for your plans, be sure that all the documents and all the preparation work when giving the contract to the EPC really mentioned and secure what you wanted to have and see in the field, but not only the product itself, but also the processes, the way the product needs to be handled and installed. This is key to actually reach the yield or the ROI of your plant.
And we have heard a little bit of a discussion on the floor that there are no real standards in place yet. How does Stäubli ensure that its products are really up to the standard?
So Basically, we invented the first PV connector back in the 90s. We have more than 1 billion connectors field installed, roughly 245 gigawatt system connected. So for us, this is the best experience, right? Collecting so much information from the field. We have been always developing our product and testing our product beyond standards. We are quite, we are more than quite, actually very confident about the product we deliver to the market today.
Moritz Ilk is a portfolio manager with Foresight Group. Moritz, can you talk me through some of the issues that you see with cabling in PV projects from an investor perspective?
Yeah, so at Foresight we historically have been building our portfolio via acquisitions. So we have acquired a variety of solar projects in the UK from various EPC contractors, and the cables and other connectors come from a variety of different manufacturers. So some of the potential issues that we see with cabling have not as much to do with the actual quality of the products, but often with the installation, and some problems or faults that have happened during the installation of the cables, which could be related to the placing of the string cables into the mounting structure profiles, which could have to do with the incorrect crimping of the actual connections. And we've basically worked with our EPC contractors in such cases, with the O&M contractors, and also the leading technical advisors and testing facilities to identify any such problems and rectify them as efficiently as possible.
And are there particular red flags where you, from your perspective, always would say, no, we're not touching this project because of this particular thing that we have discovered?
Yeah, so for example, we are working with organizations like TUV, where we would ask them to test a sample of string cables, and if the sample, let's say, would show severe problems with the product quality, whether that is related to the product itself or to installation, we would then, if we think that the risk is too high, we would then potentially not acquire an asset.
Well, here we are at the end of this year's Quality Roundtable at Intersolar Munich. Michael, you have been moderating this event, so what are your key takeaways? Maybe starting with the glass versus glass-backsheet topic.
Yes, I mean, we started from the cases described by DuPont, where they have shown that they have found a lot of issues with glass modules. But I think in the panel discussion, this became a bit more neutral, because we have learned that data is missing. I mean, there are publications which show, but back in 2008, that there are problems with glass modules. But there's also another publication from 2015, which Jörg Althaus from TÜV Rheinland brought into the discussion, that which shows that the degradation rate with glass modules is only 0.2% a year, which is really a low value. And when I then asked the people on the panel whether this is an isolated case or whether you can assume or whether you can build glass models as good, then everyone said yes, of course you can build glass models as good. The question is whether the glass model which you buy is as good. But the same question you can have with all modules, also with the glass backsheet modules. So you need good testing, and we had also a snapshot poll this year at the round table, and in the snapshot poll we asked our participants what is the most important for you for quality assurance, and I think almost a half said due diligence when purchasing modules, and I think that you have to do with glass modules as well as with glass backsheet modules.
And the other big topic that entertained this year's Quality Roundtable was cables and connectors. And what are your takeaways about this topic?
I mean, this is a bit, let's say, more difficult, because the takeaway is, I think there is still not a solution. I mean, we had a cable company here, Leoni. Leoni said, yes, best thing is protect the cables from the water. We are talking about the string cables which connect the strings with each other, not the cables which connect the combiner boxes with inverters. You can do that with cable channels, but the point is, our independent engineer Christian Bieber, he said yes, but there are practical reasons which make it difficult with the cable channels, because it depends on how installation is done. That very often water penetrates, even if you maybe could construct it theoretically without it, water penetrates, and then you have the problem again. So there is no cable which you can really bury in the earth. String cable. The cable channel, yes, we have to see how that is a solution. I mean, our independent engineer says he is recommending some cables, but there are no standards, so it's difficult really to evaluate, to assess whether they are really waterproof.